The Township Economic Development Act was passed into law in Gauteng in March 2022, and this was followed by various commissioned programs, including the backroom upgrade project headed by the Department of Economic Development. This saw loans rolled out in Mamelodi and Tembisa as part of the project to the tune of 50 million rand and about 120 units built through a public-private partnership with Indlu Living.
We then came with the concept of becoming a financier into the backyard rental business. And by so doing, we now give out loans that actually pay for themselves. How do they pay for themselves? We give a loan to a landowner in the format of expertise, of material and labor to build. And how they pay back that loan is by the room rental itself. So the room rental pays an installment back to the company. So what's wonderful about that is that it can never really fall into arrears, because if the room is not occupied for that month, that installment is not paid. However, it will roll over to the next month. So the loan will run right up until the room has paid off the loan. That way, leaving the landowner with an asset that they can always use to earn and generate income for themselves.
The company has been in existence for 8 years now as a financier and says a month post the pilot project, funds stopped coming in, leaving Indlu with thousands of frustrated potential recipients that still want to get into the space. They're now in need of around 250 million rand.
The amount that was injected was about 50 million rand, and it directly went into loans. So how we injected the funds was we'd submit and say, here's a client, because this has got such a lot of interest in the township. I mean, we are oversubscribed. We really are oversubscribed. So we then went to the department and say, here's a client, they need 1.5 million rand to build their development, and then they would fund that directly. I mean, we were getting from 50 applications in a month, now right up to 500 applications in a month. We're currently sitting on plus minus 3,000 people that are waiting, and we can't service them all until obviously more funds get injected into such a project. It's certainly something that is necessary. What is stopping us is money. We need more funding. We need more funding. We have a lot of clients. The backlog is huge.
This Disbursemennt is a beneficiary of the fund. He received a 250,000 rand loan through Indlu and says he managed to grow his business and pay off the loan.
I took them around because they asked me what is it that I would like to see happening in the future. I said, no, guys, if you can build flats around our township, because you see the area that we're living in, it's not up to standard. I was the first person, so this was a pilot project with me. So they started and saying, let's test this and see if it works. So at the time, there were not too much nitty-gritties. So they said, no, let's just do it and see if it works. If people, they get interested, we'll put terms and conditions through this first pilot project. And then they did that. And then people bought into the project. But let me mention this, at the beginning, people were a bit skeptical about this whole thing because they thought maybe these white people, they'll take their houses. But I mean, when they saw me buying into the idea, people came to my house asking me about how does this work and how are these people not going to steal your house? I said, no. This is how it works, and I explained the process to them, that they will come to your house, build it for you, maintain it for the 5 years, and every month they give you 10% of each room. I am done paying the loan with Indlu Living, and at the time, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 250,000. I'm done now, and I'm getting the profits now. Every month the money comes directly to me, and we're happy. We're fine.
Soweto property owners, on the other hand, have been waiting for their turn and say none has been forthcoming since the launch of TEDA. Mokgotsi Mokgwane is in the business of student accommodations and says he's been in the business for 10 years now. He says without financial assistance to grow his business, it's been hard to keep afloat.
Like I'm saying, support, financial support. If, like for instance, we have built the infrastructure, the structure is fine. Everything inside, it's fine. Like, for instance, I started business in 2013. I only changed bed once. In how many years? how many years? It's 2013 to now. I've only changed those beds once. Like now, I'm talking to you, I haven't been paid. With the 10 students that I haven't been paid. Now, the support that I'm talking about is that you sitting with money, I'm sitting with students, they are suffering. How you see plenty of this accommodation mushrooming. We've got plenty of them. Others are starting to build now. While we are in this business, we are empty.
A former City of Johannesburg Economic Development MMC says he suspects the project stalled due to politics as it was launched during the tenure of the DA multi-party governance in the city. He says at the time no consultations were done with the mayoral office on plans around the TEDA, which may be the reason why businesses in Johannesburg have been struggling to get the fund.
For the 6 months, at least 7 months that we were still in office from the time the act was passed, nothing had come to our attention, besides the fact that the act is very clear that the MEC for Economic Development will work in conjunction with the affected municipality, and in this instance, the PA is Economic Development in terms of rolling out the program. But up until we left in January this year, nothing had surfaced in terms of the act itself. So we can't really tell you where we are today in terms of the rollouts and who the beneficiaries are and where it stands in light of the program across the development areas. I spent a lot of time in the townships. And I must tell you that there's not much that I've seen take place, but I was encouraged to hear the MEC speak about it. I'm hoping that there's probably better alignment now between the MEC for Economic Development and the city's MMC for Economic Development, and hopefully we can start to see some movement.
Now there's a new sheriff in town. In Gauteng Economic Development MEC Tasnim Mutara, who has rolled out plans around the act.
A game-changing act which aims to prioritize the economic development of these areas through leveraging of the government expenditure to improve economic activity in township spaces. Strategic objectives have been implemented, which include installation, repairs and maintenance hubs, the township backyard real estate, and enhancement to the taxi economy. DD has a responsibility to bring everybody together to be able to address those concerns.
She has been cautioned, though, that the township business community will be keeping an eye on her to see if she delivers on the promises made years ago.
In the Val, we've got people like Rahadi Sieti, who is running an incubation program for construction companies, so that once those SMEs have undergone the necessary training, they are going to make sure that whatever money gets deployed for projects like Indru Living, the workmanship is going to be of acceptable level.
The Township Economic Development Act has been touted as a blueprint on how government would support township businesses and fund them. The businesses now want the act to migrate from paper to practice in helping with the strengthening of the township economy and the creation of jobs. Katlego Logodi, SABC News, Johannesburg.